So I have a friend who's a homeschool mom and her kids are a bit older. One is graduating. I think the youngest is around 10, and she was going through a lot of her books, and she let me go through several boxes before she sold them elsewhere. So today I have a large book haul, I think about 50 books that I want to share with you. Welcome, thanks for joining me. So like I said, today I have about 50 books to share with you, and there is a variety of age range and type. I have some encyclopedia type, some fiction. I have some that's teenage, some that's just toddler. So a big variety. I'm gonna try to go kind of quick through these. I don't wanna spend a lot of time on them because I have so many, so I'm just gonna show you what I got, and maybe something will spark your interest and you can go check it out yourself. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, comment. Let me know if you've read any of these books, because I have not read a lot of them, and I would love to know if you've read some of them and like them. That would be helpful to know. And let's get to it. So I have them in kind of stacks because I've tried to kind of type them out by type, but we're just going to pick up some and get going. So the first one we have is an Usborne Starting Point Science book, Why Do People Eat? And then I have one on telling time, the coin counting book. So this looks interesting to me. And then Mosaic and patterns and how to create them. My daughter loves drawing, and I think these are going to be fun for her down the road. They're a little advanced for her right now, but I do not mind picking up things in advance. I want to build a great library for my kids of resources, of craft or art type books, of reading material. I am all about building up our library that my kids can use for many years. 1, 2, 3, draw. This looks really similar to the Draw Right Now books, where it just gives you real basic instructions to draw something. And then Hungry Plants. And then I got this whole little set of Usborne beginner books that are really good quality, hardback. There's 7 of them here. I know they have more than this because I know that Sunlight Science uses some of this series in theirs. I don't know that they use these particular ones. I know they use ants. I don't know about the rest, but I know that they use this series along with their science. So we got one on wolves, on trains, and my daughter really likes trains right now. She's very into that. Planes, planet Earth, ants, living in space, and volcanoes. And I think these were a great find because they are in such good condition and they're really good quality. So I think my kids are really going to enjoy theirs. And then we got You Can Be a Nature Detective, Weird Sea Creatures. We're all into those. Caterpillars, Frogs, Animals of Australia, Bugs, Discover More. And this one looks like a fun book. It looks kind of gross to me because I'm not into bugs, but my kids are, but the pictures are great inside of this. Oh, and this one I think is really cool. So Bizarre and Incredible World of Plants. And they go in and get some super cool, like close-up shots in here of like plant pieces and just showing the cool designs and the bizarre variety in plants. I think this is an awesome book, and I love the pictures in here. I want to just go through and look at this with my kids. Forget them. This is for me. And then the last kind of encyclopedia or nature type book was this one on horses, which my kids like horses, and they always just like flipping through these books. So that was that one. And then we got a few that are a little bit more along the lines of biographical or historical fiction type books. So we got Who is Sacagawea? The Trojan Horse, Luke the Longhorn, Gold Rush News, The True Stories of Everest Adventures. And this one looks kind of interesting to me. This is another Usborne beginner reader. And then we also got Different Like Me, My Book of Autism Heroes. So this talks about, I want to just mention some of the people that they have in here because you would recognize them. Albert Einstein, Diane Fossey, Andy Warhol, Benjamin Banneker. Let's see if some other ones in here. Alan Turing, Sophie Germain, Lewis Carroll, Isaac Newton. So just a whole bunch. And it's just 1 page per story. So that's about how much reading it is on them. But I thought this had potential to be an interesting book to read with my kids. And then I got another like set series of biographical Heroes for Young Reader series is what this is called. And I believe these are Christian based. I'm not 100% sure on that. They are used and loved, and I can tell that they've been used and loved. But when she was showing me her books, she said her kids really, really enjoyed this series. And she said they're also written in more of a poetry style. So you can see they're like stanzas and verses versus like a large chunk of text. So a little bit more in verse than in prose, which kind of sounded interesting. But the people that I have here are David Livingston, Eric Liddell, Daniel Boone, Corrie ten Boom, George Washington Carver, and I loved this story growing up. Not this particular book, but the story of George Washington Carver was one I really enjoyed. George Mueller, Adoniram Judson, and Mary Slessor. So I think these are cool, and I have not read this series before, but actually I really like kind of how it's written in verse, and I'm looking forward to reading those with my kids. I think that's going to make some great read-alouds to go along with history or just morning time, so I'm looking forward to those. And then last stack are more like readers and fiction. So I got a couple of picture books because my kids still like picture books. We have Harvest Festival, The Berenstain Bears, and one called Love is Kind. And then along with those, I got some first reading books. My daughter is just moving into these. Pete the Cat and the Bad Banana, Pete the Cat, A Pet for Pete, and Pete at the Beach. And then the Berenstain Bears, Faith Gets Us Through. And I just recently saw another homeschool mom. I'm trying to remember, maybe Shauna Homegrown Homeschool. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. She just mentioned that she got this along with her homeschool, and she liked this one. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then the last reader would be Johnny Appleseed. So those are the readers. And then a story called Trottino's Tale. And this looks kind of along the lines of like Peter Rabbit. I haven't read it, but that's kind of the vibes it's giving me. And then this one's a little bit of a bigger book, and it's called The Tale of Castle Cottage. And apparently this is a book based off the tales of Beatrix Potter, and like stories based off her life and her stories, so inspired by her. So I think this could be fun and interesting. I'm not sure what age range this is, or if this will be a little bit of an older book or kind of middle-aged. And then we got a Shel Silverstein. I can get there. I like his poems. I have not read any of his stories, but this is Lefcadio, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name, The Lion Who Shot Back. And this is not just a poem, this is an actual story. So I'm kind of interested to see what this is like. And then the last three are the final books in a series that I had already. So the Peter and the Starcatchers, Peter and the Shadow Thieves, it's a Peter Pan by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. And I had the first two books, and she had the last three. So she had Peter and the Sword of Mercy, Peter and the Secret of Randoon, and then The Bridge to Neverland. And I know these are a little bit older books. Like I said, these are probably more in like the teenage realm or early preteen realm, but I want to build my library. And so all varieties, all ages, and I'm not above reading some preteen material myself once in a while when I want to light read. So that is my book haul for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing those. If, like I said, if you have read any of those, please let me know if you have some that you particularly enjoyed or any of similar types. And I'm sure I will have more books for you in the future.